To open up the training, you simply double click on it. Now, depending on your browser, it may prevent this from opening by blocking the pop-up. What you have to do is go to options and always allow pop-ups for that. If this is your own computer, you will only have to do this one time. If you're in the lab, you may have to do this for every session. Once you open it up, you will see the interface here, and let's talk about some of these things. The first thing is an indication of which activity you're about to do. These activities are mapped to the textbook activities 1-to-1. So if you turn in the textbook to 1.5, it will be exactly like the 1.5 in the training. The next thing you see here is the View All button. With the View All, you can actually skip around and go to the activity you want to perform. What's nice about this is once you complete all the training, if you just need to go back and refresh on one particular question, you have the option to do that by clicking on View All. I will talk about the reset button in just a second. The other thing down here is you can navigate through these questions one at a time by simply clicking on these buttons. This will allow you to move forward or back through the questions. What's nice about it is if, for instance, you need to do a particular task and you're not sure how to do it, maybe you need to put a picture in a certain position, you can always go here and see exactly what the finished product should look like by looking at the following question, and once you see that, you can go back then to the previous question and begin that task. When we do these training exercises, you will have 99 attempts at each activity. 99 is more than enough attempts. For the lab, we'll have 20 attempts, which again is quite a few attempts. Once you finish a question, however, and it's completed, you will not be allowed to attempt it again. So that brings me to the Save versus Submit button. When you're doing your training, you should submit at the end of each session. If you submit at the end of each session, a question will then allow you to attempt it again. So let's say you finish the whole thing and you want to go back and do question number 5 to train on it or refresh on it. If you save it, question number 5 will not be available anymore. If you submit it, question number 5 along with all the other questions will then be made available for you again. Alright, I'll show you this a little later in the demonstration. So right here it's saying the instructions of what it wants you to do. Start Microsoft Word 2013 and display a blank document. I'm not sure how to do that, so I have tools available, learning aids, to help me do that. One thing is the Read feature. The Read feature actually ties you to the textbook. Now, this feature is only available if you have purchased the ebook. If you did not purchase the ebook, you will not have access to this feature. It's just a static look at the textbook and an explanation of what you're supposed to do for that particular step. As I mentioned before, without the use of the textbook, you can still be successful. The second option here is called Watch. Watch will not just show you a static version of the commands, but actually display a video.
In the Windows 8 Start screen, type Word 2013 and then press Enter. To start a new document, click Blank Document. Type Internships Available and then press Enter 2 times. Now let's type the first paragraph. As you type, when you reach the right margin, WordWrap determines whether or not the next line will fit, and if it does not, the entire word moves to the next line.
Okay, so
This
what's nice about this video is you can
click
stop
Blank
it and
Document.
pause it and rewind it and do all the things you need to do to make
Type
sure you understand
Internships
exactly
Available
what the
and then
task
press
is
Enter.
requesting of you. Alright, the last learning aid is called Practice. Watch lets you passively watch the activity. Practice lets you actively engage in the activity with some help from an assistant. So, when you click on Practice,
In the Windows 8 Start screen, type Word 2013 and then press Enter.
there will be a little screen tip to tell you exactly what you are requested to do. Now, this is a simulated version of Office, which means some of the things that you normally do in an office environment will not be allowable here. But for the most part, some of the shortcuts you like to do are allowable here. So if you like to do a cut and paste using Control C, Control V, you're able to do that. You don't have to follow exactly what's being displayed here in the training. For instance, it's telling me to go to the Start screen and type in Word 2013. But I know I usually just click on this tile right here. When I click on the tile, it accepts it
Click
the same way
Blank
it would
Document.
accept the command that it asked me to perform. So I'm going to click on Blank Document, and notice for everything that I do, the tool tip, screen tip, guided me through that process. Not sure that I did it correctly, I can go back and practice it again.
In the
Again,
Windows 8 Start
screen tip
screen,
comes up.
type
I deviate from it a little bit, but then
Click
for this
Blank
one right
Document.
here, I do exactly what it tells me to do. And I'm done. Once I've completed the practice using the learning aid, I'm ready to do it live on my own. So I'm going to go through, click on that, click Blank Document, and now that is completed, so it's gray, and the next thing that I'm supposed to do is now boldface. It says type in internship, and I'm going to purposely misspell internship, leaving out the S, and then I'm going to purposely misspell available, leaving or I instead of A. So I typed that in correctly. I'm pretty sure it's correct, and I'm going to do what it says, press enter twice. One, and when I press enter, I see that it's saying incorrect action, and now I'm down to 97 attempts. If I continually do that blindly, thinking, hey, what's wrong, I'm going to run out of attempts. So when it says it's incorrect, make sure you meticulously check to see that you have done everything correctly. Oh, I spelled intern incorrect. Internship incorrectly. So I put that in there, I go to the end, I hit enter, and it's still incorrect. I have to look very careful to see that I made this an I instead of an A. So I have it correct now. Often there are students that type really fast and they don't realize it, but at the end of each line, instead of hitting enter, they put a little space in there and then they hit enter just because of the way they continually hit spaces. If you do that little space right there, and hit enter, it will be deemed incorrect. So when it says type that in and press enter right afterwards, you have to do it right there. So notice in some instances it will actually try to give you a hint as to what you have to do, and make sure you don't forget that particular thing. So notice right here it's telling me to type in all this text right there. I'm not going to do all of that. Instead, I'm going to click on view all and go to a different question. The problem is, if I do this, let me go to resize the picture, and I'm going to launch that. The problem is, if I do that and then decide, well, let me go back and finish that question number 1 and launch it, I will have to start back at the beginning. Okay, so I want to make sure I finish a question to its fruition before I go on to the next one. So I'm going to go back to this one again, resize, launch it, and under this it's telling me to resize this picture 4 inches on the vertical ruler, and I'm not particularly sure where that should be. So what I'm going to do is go to the next question, and when I go to the next question, just go back and do this one. I resize it to 4, and it should look like this. And then I change the height of this. In the video it tells me to go here to change the height, but I'm used to just right clicking and going to size and changing the height right there. So I'll just click on that. I can type it in. I'll change it to 3.8. I'll click OK, and that particular question is done. Notice when it's done though, when I go to the next question, it's back to this one. So there are some anomalies in this, but don't be deterred. Alright, also notice when I did that, now when I look at the question list, I see that question number 6 has been completed and it's correct. The problem with that is it's grayed out. I can never do that question again. If I go to save this, let me save it and go back in, that question number 5 is still unavailable. I cannot launch it. Okay, the way I'm going to be able to launch that, because I did question number 5 at home, but I'm in the lab right now, I'm not sure how to do it. I need to submit this training. Once I submit it and open it back up again, I then see that question number 6 is now available again, and I can launch it and attempt it. Okay, you do not receive any points for the training, so you can submit it as many times as you like. And that is the end of this tutorial.